I just found out you're gay. What?
You were the last person on earth to find out.
You're gay?
You invited me. Did you have... What? I'm kidding. Can you imagine?
But that's so funny if an interviewer goes, what? You're gay?
Something funny happened the other night. My best friend Natalie, my platonic life partner, my best friend, my manager. I mean, she's every role I could.
Isn't Natalie Osborne?
Yes.
I love her.
We were at this like birthday party of a friend that we both know, like kind of we like not a friend of ours, a friend of her boyfriend's that we've become friendly with.
This is the way we tell stories.
So we're
So
we're at this birthday party and we're just chilling and we meet this other girl and she was like very extroverted and fun and quirky, and I got to go to the bathroom like probably like 15 minutes after meeting this girl, and when I came back, Natalie's like has this look and was like staring at me and I was like, what? And she goes, I'll tell you later. And I always love those moments because I know I'm going to get something really good.
Yeah.
And then this girl gets up to go dance inside, and Natalie goes, you got up, and that girl goes, can I ask you a personal question? And Nat's like, what? And she goes, what's his sexuality? And Natalie goes, oh, I mean, he's gay. She goes, I knew it. My gaydar is spot on. And I was like, bitch, if you had to ask, your gaydar is not spot on. You watched me walk in this restaurant. What do you mean?
This is literally like my mom going, Sam Champion is gay. She goes, I wondered why he didn't show pictures of his wedding.
Sam Champion is also, I mean, growing up watching the Weather Channel in the morning.
Is that when you knew?
I was like,
okay. Mom?
He's also like ripped.
Oh, he's so ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah. He may be in my age demo too. Like, I mean, so that good for him.
Yeah.
He's like Tom Cruise ripped.
Yeah, he's very ripped.
I don't know how old he is, but he looks great.
I would guess he's in his 50s now.
Well, I'm not in my 50s. What are you saying? Your age radar is so wrong. See?
I'm always in that because you said that.
I didn't say that. You are the worst friend ever.
You're the one who told everyone I was gay.
All right, we both. This is a coming out for both of us. I never tell any.
This is your podcast. You can edit anything you need.
Oh, we already started. All right, since you're gay, it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
It's Pride Month?
It's coming up.
Yes. You know, I live on Broadway.
You do.
And being in the thick of the shit show.
Are you excited about that?
You know what? Actually, it's been a really cool adventure.
Really?
Yeah, I have great stories to tell.
Amazing.
So I do want to talk about the weirdest thing that has ever happened to you on Broadway. So I have a cool story that just happened to me recently that I want to share with you. Okay. But there has to be something in all your time in Nashville that has been weird that's happened on Broadway. I mean, I have so many, but one just so recently happened to me that I want to share with you. But you want time to think about it while I tell you my story? Or does it stand out?
I gotta be honest, I haven't spent a ton of time on Broadway. There was this one time where when I first moved to Nashville, where I thought, like, you know, moving to Nashville, singing in the honky tonks was like the dream. Mm-hmm. But I was at 17, so no one would let me. But then I got my big opportunity
to go pop.
To go sing at the honky tonks that I sang at.
And then you're like, no.
Well, it's just funny thinking back. It's just funny because how serious I was at the time. But I sang one song at Tootsie's Lounge. Oh, yeah? And I chose to sing Boot, Scoot, and Boogie. And
Heel toe, do-si-do.
Yeah, and I was
Come on, baby.
I was very serious about it. Like, it was
at 17.
I was probably like 18 at this point. But it was not me trying to be funny. It was not me. I was taking myself very seriously. So I think that's probably the funniest thing. For me.
Did you get any tips?
I don't think I did, actually.
You're so cute.
I think people were very confused. And my grandmother came to see me play that, which was sweet.
Because you were at a very religious
Tribeca,
Nazarene.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised how do you get in a bar here? That's why your grandma came?
Well, I was like, it was like through this like program thing I was in that legally I can't talk about.
I wasn't ready for that.
No, I'm joking. It was like I was working with these people who were like managing me, whatever that means back then. But they're the ones who put it together, so I just like showed up and did it. But I definitely was not of age.
Okay, so they didn't know you were of age.
The good news is I looked like I was 42, so I was 17.
That's so true. I can't believe you're only 50. I kind of want to hold the mic closer to your... Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Eat it. I'm dead. Can I share my story?
Please.
I was on my way to our mutual friend Steven's house for a little rooftop soiree. Mm-hmm. And I baked my world-famous flourless chocolate cake. And I walked downstairs.
I love that you're a baker.
I am a little...
You are.
I'm a little baker.
I would not guess that.
Fatty baker. Thank you. People are often shocked that, number one, I'm kind of domestic. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm in this phase where I don't, because my kids are now grown. People are often shocked, which also might hurt my feelings, like, you have kids? Right. I think because I don't talk about it anymore very much. They'll be like, oh, you have kids? I'm like, yes. Do I not seem maternal anymore? Get out of my face. But shut your mouth. Is that not maternal?
You're like, I'm 34 and have 8 kids.
Weird. I'm from Kentucky. We started early with our brothers. So people from the South don't usually laugh at that joke as much. But in New York, that joke kills. But anyway, I'm walked downstairs with my cake. It's still hot. It's a flourless chocolate cake with the ganache icing. Fantastic. Still hot, so I didn't put plastic on it. I walk downstairs. Also, I'm going out with our gang. So I don't mind saying objectively, I think that looked pretty great. So it is Saturday night, right down to, Eddie V's, Hattie V's. In the course of waiting for my Uber ride, I have this cake. There's a bachelor party. They're all like early 40s. Shit hammered, right?
Right.
So they see me with the cake and they're already swapping clothes. So we all start a thing.
Swapping clothes?
They're like, does this shirt look good on me? Hey lady, you think this shirt looks good on me? They're from New York. I don't know. I'm like making an accent up because it's funny.
Well, earlier you said ganache.
Ganache?
He said that like you were from Jersey.
Ganache. So they start, swapping shirts, and then he goes, can I try your jacket on? So I have on a kind of a cropped, furry thing. He takes his shirt all the way off. This is like a 6'3" guy, right? Takes his shirt off, tries and it comes up like right under his boobies. And now everybody's looking. Well, the most drunk guy in the group notices that I have a cake, finally. And he goes, you have a cake? Where'd you get that cake? I go, I made it, fellas. Some people live here. And he goes, I'll buy the cake from you. I go, how much you got? He goes, $20. I go, don't insult me.
Yeah.
Please. Don't. I wish I'd asked for more because they were so drunk. He goes, I go, don't even come at me with anything less than $100.
Right.
And so, these guys they're out for the night. He whips out his wallet. He has lots of hundreds. And he hands me a $100 bill. And I go, okay, you can have the TJ Maxx $2.99 plate for that too. Because I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
You sold your cake.
So this is maybe my new side hustle. Because times are tough.
Had I been your friend meeting up with you and I thought you had a cake and then you sold it.
Right? So
I would have been furious.
Well, here's what happened. So I take the $100 bill. I think he's going to take the cake. He takes this. Okay. He does this. He grabs the cake like this with both hands, smashes it on the head of the guy thank God my jacket was off the guy, smashes it on the head of the guy, and then they all crack up. My Uber comes. I take the $100 bill. I go, thank you, gentlemen. It's been nice doing business with you. And I show up at Darden's house, and he goes, where's the cake? And I show him the plate with the $100 bill in the middle, and I say, first round's on me.
Oh my God, there you go.
And he forgave me. And then everybody just ate the icing, because the ring of the icing was so good.
Yeah.
So that's Broadway. I mean, and for tourists who come here, that's just one. It's really become so Vegas down here.
For sure.
I met your parents.
Yes.
And when we were talking about, oh my gosh, you're gay. Two of my best friends here in town, like my North Star friends, Desmond, Child, and Curtis. I don't know if you know that.
I've met Desmond. But
Curtis was my hiking buddy forever and helped me transition my daughter here when, it was hard. I moved her here as a junior in high school, and she was delightful. Oh my God. As you can imagine, she just loved moving as a junior in high school. I mean, and now she's great, but it was hard, and he really helped me meet people and try to make it as smooth as possible. But every time we'd hike, when we were learning about each other as friends do, he'd say, well, that's in the documentary to the story of Roman and Nero, because they used a surrogate to have twins. And so I'm like, well, I'm not your friend because you're famous. It took me 2 years before I ever watched this documentary. And when I watched this documentary about their life, and Desmond, for people watching, is a prolific songwriter, just pretty much wrote he still writes prolifically, but every 80s banger, 90s, everything, Living on a Prayer. And you should watch the documentary, because I was sad I waited so long to watch it, because I walked away learning that I almost cried talking about it, because Curtis's mother was the star of this documentary.
Wow.
Because his mother, he was raised very religiously in Kansas, and his mother is still alive, and she's an angel straight from heaven. Very religious woman. And by the end of the documentary, as she took them and went through this journey of love with them, she became her story of supporting them and supporting their marriage and supporting love of any kind, and then creating an organization that supported gay marriage and gay families. I was blown away, because he never said, oh, you should watch it because my mom's so cool.
Right.
And I'd met her many times. But I was like, Curtis, you never, your mom, you guys are chopped liver in this. Your mother is the story of this documentary.
It's really sweet.
And your story, I feel like, knowing you, is a little like that. And your parents I met and are so cool. And I met your parents before I knew your story.
Right.
About being raised so religiously. Mm-hmm. So I wanted you to share that story a little, if you could, if you're okay with it.
Yeah, of course. I was born into a Nazarene family, which a Nazarene is a denomination in the Christian faith. It's somewhere between Pentecostal and Methodist. And
I'm Catholic. We don't know about any other religions.
Yeah, I'm just.
But it's good for other people.
I'm explaining. And when I say Nazarene, everyone's like, "What's that?"
No, that actually is good enough.
Yeah, so it's it's a pretty strict denomination, and
no drinking. No.
I'm a fifth generation Nazarene, so my parents' were in this church. So, as we were talking off mic, we're all just products of how we were raised, really.
Trauma.
So, I came out when I was around 20. I had moved to Nashville to go to Tribeca Nazarene University, which we talked about. So that was the easiest way for me to get to a city that's music related. And I ended up just kind of discovering myself here and starting being honest about who I was and how I felt, my queerness when I was around 19, 20. And it took my parents a couple months to adjust to it, which in the grand scheme of a lot of people's lives is not that long, and it wasn't that long to me either. But it was really hard, those first conversations about it. But my parents are just the best. They're my biggest support system. They always have been. There's never been a moment, even in the confusion of me coming out, being queer, and them having trouble with that. There was never a moment they weren't speaking to me or we weren't close. I ended up moving home for a little bit, just to kind of be I'm still me. This is the person you raised. I'm still who I am. The difference is I'm a little bit happier and a lot more truthful and honest. And I also knew what they were going to come at me with, like with scripture and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like studied up on all that. And I just kind of feel like me coming out challenged my parents' faith in a way that they never had to be challenged. And I think a lot of people have the faith they have because they've never been challenged, or they've never had to love someone that comes from a different group of people. The truth is there's gay people everywhere. From the dawn of time, there has been. There's trans people everywhere. It's just something where we're living in a time where people can be open and honest about that and live their truth and be who they are. And a lot of people haven't had to reckon with loving someone who is a part of a system that's different from their belief system.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like once you humanize it, once you actually encounter, like, it always confuses me how people can't just as a human to human.
Well,
make sense of it.
Yeah, I get that part, and it is hard, and I think there's a lot of nuances, because it's a knowledge game, right? And people only know what they know. And if you're ignorant to a whole group of people because you think you don't know anyone that's queer, first of all, you're hugely mistaken. You definitely know someone who is queer. They're just not honest about it. And then the other thing is I think through the internet and the way we're all so connected, it's so easy for people to feel brave when they can just throw a blanket statement out to the World Wide Web where it just goes face to face. I'm like, are people really that hateful? Like, is this really still happening? And I think there's definitely instances of people who have experiences where people are hateful, and that's awful. But I think it's just like, I think if we were able to connect outside of just the internet and have these like vast opinions that just go into the ether of we're all behind a screen for a majority of our day, I just feel like people would be able to see the humanity behind queerness, and that we're just people too that want the same exact thing that heterosexual people want, and that's to be loved, to be cared for, to be known, to be able to be ourselves, to be able to live freely. I mean, the whole thing about freedom in this country is an interesting conversation. Right. Because the same people who are,
many of the same.
Yeah, touting about freedom are the people who are oppressing others. Right. It's a very interesting thing.
That's what I love about your song, Southern Curiosity. Like, you could, if you heard it, knew nothing about you, it's such a country song. It's a good old boy song. Till that very last part, where you talk about, the people at my church don't know that, like, at night.
So can do it.
Me too. But it is such a cowboy song.
Yeah. Well, the thing is it's from, I get what you're saying, and it's, when writing that song, I wrote that with John Davidson and Jacob Bryant of the Brummies, who actually are from Alabama, where my family's all from. I grew up in Arkansas, but both my mom and dad are from Alabama, and so it's like funny meeting them here in Nashville and becoming friends. Like, my dad's cousin was close friends with Jacob's mom in Alabama. Like,
that's how it is.
All of the ties run very deep, and it's like, I feel like we were destined to become friends and write this song, which was the title track of my debut album. And for me, that song wraps everything up in a nutshell. It's who I am as a queer person. It's who I am as a country artist. And I've not always been brave enough to call myself a country artist because I've always felt like country music was a party I wasn't invited to. And just recently, Southern Curiosity coming into the world, I even thought that being labeled as a country album with all the streaming services, because I was like, I want this album to have its best chance, and I don't want to be pigeonholed into this place that doesn't support artists like me.
I hear that.
But the thing is Southern Curiosity had a life of its own, and it came into the world and got playlisted in all these country playlists. And I think the fans listening appreciate a new voice in country music and are like hungry for that. And it's given me the bravery to say, you know what, I am a country artist. I'm from Arkansas. I grew up on a dirt road. You know what I mean? Like, there's all the things that make all these other male country artists country are things that I've gone through and I've lived, and
everything in that song.
Yeah, and I'm honest. You know, I'm not a cowboy. You know, I'm not riding a horse in the sunset. I'm not a trucker. I'm not all these things. But the truth is I'm from where I'm from.
Right.
And I sing the songs that I sing, and I speak from my experience. And the truth is that there's so many queer people from the South that associate with being from the South and loving being from the South. But the truth is that in the South, we have a really wild history that has been oppressive to a lot of different groups of people. And I think we're living in a time now where it's really powerful, where artists like me and artists like Mickey Guyton and Kacey, artists like Lily Rose. I could literally just go on and on and on of people who are changing narrative of what country music is. And we're not, the truth is we're just no longer excluding people, right? We're not telling other people not to listen to our music or changing country music. We're inviting more people to this party. And like I said earlier, country music's also like a party I wasn't invited to. But I've had a lot of fucking fun at parties I wasn't invited to. And I'm here, I'm queer, and I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's like, in Southern Curiosity, that song, I'm honest in it. You know I'm not this like cowboy, like riding horses, all this stuff, but I am where I'm from.
Yeah, and the truth is, to speak to, I've done country radio forever, and I wasn't ever good on the air until I started being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And most people respect that more than anything. They may not like everything you have to say. They may not agree with everything you have to say.
Well, then I'll apologize for the sucking dick comment.
I will never.
On me.
It doesn't matter. Remember, this is my little podcast. I'm just talking to people I like. I will never apologize for that.
Me either, honestly.
But I found, like, over the years that's the part I love about our audience. They really do. They want authentic. They want real. And I think sometimes they get a bad rap. One could argue, whatever you want to argue. But I feel like I want to defend them for that, because I've done this for a long time. I've answered phones of real people.
Mm.
And again, like we've talked about before, sometimes it's the loudest voices or the trolls that people glom onto.
Right.
And many of the people who I did talk radio for a very, very short time. I call it very low-rated, ill-fated time of talking. I was like, why am I doing this? I don't even like talk radio.
Yeah.
But I would meet people all the time. It wasn't political. They were trying to do morning show kind of stuff on the station in Denver. And I would meet normal people all the time. They're like, oh, I love listening to you. I'm like, why don't you ever call? Nobody normal ever calls.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of happens right now. Like normal people are living their lives and working and not writing like horrible comments on people's. They're just liking the people. So I think sometimes that silent majority, people forget about that.
I think so too. But I will say, I don't
want to defend them too much. But.
You get the ever so often radical, crazy person on Instagram, but everyone does. Everyone does. No one is immune from that.
No.
Whether you're gay, straight, whatever. I will say what has been so amazing for me and like doing my radio show at Apple and talking to artists who have, challenged this for a long time, or people who are starting to, like TJ Osborne. The thing he said that kind of blew me away was he was mostly, when he came out, the thing he was most surprised about was the overflow of love and kindness. And of course, there's the comments here and there, but the overflow of support and positivity is what blew him away the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in my own career, that's kind of been the same for me. It's really amazing to me, like the people that find you. Like you were talking about, when you live your life authentically, when you're being yourself authentically, when you're putting your music out authentically, when you're putting your own story and truth into songs and being real, that resonates with other people who are living authentically and being real in their own lives, and they want to hear music like that. So it's really been cool for me to see the people finding the comment I get the most and that I love the most is I didn't think I liked country music until I found it.
What's the best?
I didn't think I'm not a country music fan, but I love your album. I'm not a country music fan, but these songs make me see myself.
Yep.
And I think that is, for me, and my big agenda, what I'm trying to do is because I am who I am. I'm queer. I'm from the South. I can't apologize for either of those things. But what I love seeing in my comments and in my DMs is people who have not been able to see themselves in a whole entire genre for as long as they've not been able to see themselves, for as long as country music has existed. But now, there's artists getting to be themselves. And I love getting to be a part of that. I love getting to be myself in this genre where people haven't been able to see themselves. And now they're invited to this party too.
I don't want to make this about me.
Please take it.
I mean, me or Elton John. Who's a better interviewer? I mean, I don't like to call this an interview. Like I said from the beginning, it's not an interview. We're just talking. I mean, you don't have to answer right away.
I'll say this. I'm a little less nervous right now.
Oh,
it's Sir Elton John.
Oh my God. No, I'm dead. I mean, did you, I mean, not just as an artist. Okay. As an artist, truly, we don't even know, like crazy.
It was insane.
I don't get nervous interviewing artists. I would pee my pants. I mean, he's iconic. He's like,
I mean, and this is something I got to tell him in person, was just that, like, from my earliest memories, I've known who Elton John is. You know what I mean? So, like, he's one of the first queer icons. Like, and even back then I didn't know he was queer, but it's like he's an icon, and he always has been. So it's like, I mean, like, that's something like me and my parents have agreed on forever, is that Elton John's amazing. Like that never came up, that was like taboo or anything. But like, it's just like, he's been so iconic my whole entire life, and like a hero of mine. And I never in 1,000 years thought that I would be on the other side of the screen or sitting next to him at a couch. Or the thing that really, his kindness, honestly,
I loved the way you guys interacted.
His kindness and support has honestly just been so unreal. I almost had a heart attack. He invited me and my boyfriend to go see him at his last show ever in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. And we got a call that morning that was kind of like, hey, we don't know if Elton's going to want to see any of his guests or not, but be prepared and, like, this is a while ago, so go get COVID tested and make sure if he does, that you're good. I'm thinking there's no way. We get a call that's like, can you get here an hour early? Elton wants to see you. So of course I'm like, I got dressed faster than I've ever gotten dressed to go anywhere. And we like get there, they come get us.
Breath check.
Yeah, they come get us, and like me and Jeremy, and I'm thinking like we're gonna walk in there and there's gonna be like this big soiree of people. But it was literally Elton sitting in this like throne-like little thing, and of course, me and Jeremy just sat there and got to like talk about music, and Elton was like sharing with us like music he was into at the time and people he was excited about, and he was like, "This is what I show people you." When it's like
that is 1,000% the vibe I got from your chat. Like I feel like he's not a guy. I mean, obviously he really loves your stuff, and by the way, I feel like the vibe of your whole album, Southern Curiosity, is that kind of like Mr. Atlanta, which we don't even have time to go into that backstory because I know that backstory with Evan and Elliot, and I can't.
Oh yeah.
But that is kind of like that joy in that song. That it does have a pop kind of sensibility, and I feel like it is kind of Elton John-esque.
When I made Southern Curiosity the album, a lot of the conversation I was having while writing and recording was, what would Elton John do if he was making this kind of album? Like Of course, I want it to be my own. I want to take my own spin on it. But yeah, Mr. Atlanta, Another Lover Says, Casanova, there's a lot of nods to Elton John on that album. So yeah, getting to sit there with him and like him, the thing that blew me away the most is he's just an absolute music lover, and he's so on the pulse of like what's happening and what's going on, and like that was really fucking cool. But then, so we get say our goodbyes. We like go sit in our seats. I think I'm like on cloud nine. Like I'm like this night could not get better. We're like sitting in our seats. He starts to perform "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," and he starts giving this speech. And he's like, Nashville's such a special place. Tennessee's a special place. With Memphis and Nashville, there's so much great music that inspires me. And, I have a lot of friends here tonight. And he starts listing off all these famous people in the audience. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, oh, I'm not famous enough for that. Like, because of like Sheryl Crow and Vice President Al Gore and all these people. And then
Gandhi.
Yeah. And then at the end, he's like, and the fabulous Fancy Hagood to a packed out arena. And I literally... I still get emotional talking about it because it was like I've had so many like highs and lows in my career. I've had so many almost moments, and to have someone who I look up to on that scale, someone who my parents look up to on that scale, and like it was kind of the nudge I needed to say, hell fucking yeah, I'm in this game, and no matter what anyone says about me, no matter what gatekeeper doesn't think I'm this or doesn't think I'm that or doesn't want to help me with this opportunity or put me on, I'm doing it my way, and I've got the recognition of my ultimate idol, and he sees me and he's like encouraging me, and I saw that as a baton. Mm-hmm. I saw when he said the fabulous Fancy Hagood in a stadium, mm-hmm. and people were cheering, I literally lost my life. My knees buckled, I'm about to like fall. My boyfriend burst into tears. My like stoic country boy boyfriend like burst into tears. And what's funny is like I know no one around me like knew who I was or like that.
That's me. That's me.
But I was just like, I haven't recovered from that moment. But it's like,
what?
Yeah, it's just he's the best. I hope so.
I feel like you might.
I don't think it's out of the question, and I'm just at a place in my life where it's like collaboration is one of my favorite things. Learning from other artists. I just opened for Brandi Carlile at a festival she puts on in Florida.
I saw that.
And just getting to see how other people who are so wildly talented, how they operate, it's been the biggest blessing. And collaboration is my favorite thing. So if I ever got to collaborate with Elton John, it would just be the wildest, biggest joy.
And you are working on new stuff.
I am. I have a new album coming out.
When is that coming out?
It'll come out top of next year, I believe. Okay. If everything goes according to plan.
Could I be in one of the choir?
Let's go.
I would like to be. Okay. I get to be in a choir. Desmond asked me, he's like, hey, could you come to the studio and I got to do a choir for the concert in Greece? It was funny. He goes, can you sing? I'm like, oh my God, I've been wanting you to ask me that for years. He goes, I'm going to make it, you sound like a little kid. I'm like, I don't care. Anyway, just in case you because I do love the choir. I love the choir theme in Southern Curiosity too.
Yeah, there's kind of like a whole choir theme happening throughout the album in a couple spots on the first album. And we haven't really done that again.
Okay.
I think people are going to be surprised by this next record.
Good. Like different?
I think it is a little different, but like I think if you like Southern Curiosity, the song, mm-hmm. I think you'll definitely enjoy my next album. We're leaning fully into the, when I made Southern Curiosity, the album, I was kind of like a little bit afraid of, like what I talked about earlier. I was afraid of it being labeled as country.
Well, like you scared.
That's right.
But
now I'm not afraid.
After the Elton John shout.
Yeah. Now it's like, now I'm invincible. I don't have to do whatever I please.
He is king. He is king. A kind of subtitle, I was talking about the goal of this, and I'm just starting out the podcast, and it really was like, I don't want to do like a specific, let's talk about quilting, let's talk about beekeeping. I really do just want to get together with people that I like, that I'm interested in, and talk about things that interest me. But a little bit of subtitle, kind of subtext, is the Nashville truth.
Mm.
Which I think people are kind of are scared to talk about. And we touched on a little, I'm not mad about it, but this is a different town, I think, and it's a complex town. And I think you've really touched on most of it through what you're talking about. But what do you think is that truth for you? And the truth you think that would surprise most people that they don't know about this town?
I think the heart of Nashville, this town just vibrates at a different pace than other places. I've left Nashville. I moved to LA once. I moved to Arkansas once. I always find myself back here, and I think it's because, for me, it's the community of people. I think there's a real kindness here. I think there's a real heart that people here just kind of operate from the same place. It's interesting because we were talking off mic, things are divisive. And I think for the first time in country music has always kind of been one big family, right? And now you're kind of getting these like rifts where, if you feel this way politically, you're over here. If you feel this way politically, you're over there. But so I think it's feeling a little divisive right now, but I think the truth of the matter is Nashville, including country music, is one big community. And I've never found another community anywhere like it. There's also like a camaraderie here. I don't ever feel like I'm in competition. Like, I feel truly championed and cared for by other artists, by other songwriters. I never feel like someone doesn't think that they're getting an opportunity because I have an opportunity. I certainly don't feel like I'm not getting an opportunity when I see a friend winning. It's like...
That is very true.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful...
Among artists, that is so true. I'm sure it's true among labels, but among artists...
I'm not signed to a label, so I wouldn't fuck all you labels who haven't even reached out to me.
But he is available, so maybe soften. But he is available.
No, I'm actually not going to soften that because I think it's a shame. If I was a heterosexual male that did exactly what I did as a homosexual male on my own independently, you motherfuckers would be up my ass, putting me out there to radios, selling my albums, but I'm homosexual, so you're not doing it. There's only one homosexual male signed to a major label. I'm looking at the camera now. I'm not serious. TJ Osborne.
Okay.
And he had to be in the closet for the majority of his success, and now he gets to be himself. Shame on you labels for not signing more queer artists who are telling stories, and that's what we say country music is about, is storytelling, and there's more stories to be told, and shame on y'all for not telling them.
So, yeah, sorry for saying soften that, but I think this, and I do think this, why don't we start a label?
Our own label?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Let's think of a title. We'll work on that. You're not quick enough for me.
I was like,
I gotta get him some cookies. I made cookies last night.
I do want a cookie.
They're so good. You've done a good job. I'm gonna give you a cookie.
I've wanted a cookie ever since we were talking about that.
Oh my god, they're so
flourless cake. Mm-hmm. Cheers, thanks for having me.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you. Mm-hmm.